Well, with all the talk about the Medicaid and the Medicare, I don't see anybody talking about this one particular part. So sit on down. We're going to talk about it, friend. Especially if you don't actually have Medicaid or Medicare. Maybe you have private insurance so well, you don't care. Maybe you voted for him because you don't care about Medicaid and Medicare. You have private insurance. How would this possibly affect you? Once again, you were too busy looking at the tree and you missed the entirety of the forest, you see. Where do you think people who don't have insurance go when they're sick? They have no money. They have no insurance. Do you know where they go, honey? 'Cause I do. The emergency room. Yes. So now 14 million people will be left without health insurance. So every time they get sick and they don't have money, where do they go? Your emergency room, honey. Y'all remember how bad the emergency rooms were during the apocalypse? Because doctors' offices were closed and shut down. So everybody, when they got sick in town, had to go to where? The emergency room. So that's just a little glimpse into the amount of chaos that's going to be at emergency rooms everywhere. Because so many will not be able to go to their regular doctor. If they have an upset tummy and they're throwing up too much and they're worried they're going to get dehydrated, they can't call up their doctor on the phone and get a bit of Zofran. No, they're going to have to go to the emergency room. I hope you don't get in a car wreck and you need to go to the emergency room too, because, baby, the wait, the wait is going to be, well, great long waits. But that's not all. It's not just about the inconvenience it may cause you at an emergency room. It's also about... Now, let's think about this for a minute. Because, by the way, the Republicans did pull a stunt and cut funding, federal funding, that helped keep hospitals and clinics in rural areas afloat. They shut that down, and now people all over rural areas, all across America, if they have an emergency, they've got to drive quite a way, and they better hope they make it there before something else happens. Yes. Well, now let's think about all the hospitals in the city that you're already having to drive to get to an emergency. Now they're overrun with over 14 million people that don't have Medicaid or Medicare anymore. They can't pay their hospital bill, so the debt racks up for the hospital. It's not a state of an emergency, so there is no PPP loan for the hospital. So what does the hospital have to do at this point, because they've had to consume so much debt? Well, they start laying off doctors. They start laying off nurses, cleaning staff, office staff, all of that. And when they can't lay off any more people and the debt keeps racking on up, what do? They close down the hospital. That's right, the very hospital that you, with your fancy insurance, need to go to. But that never occurred to you, did it? Hospitals having to close down can affect an entire city. Not just people being sick. Job loss, money coming into the city loss, everything. This could bankrupt the entire healthcare system. Yes. But you know, so many people are out here fraudulently on Medicaid and Medicare, which, by the way, that thought right there is completely wrong. If you actually count the number of people who are fraudulently on Medicaid or Medicare, it would be like one grain of sand in a pile of all of the sand on the land, honey. One grain. The majority of the fraud within Medicaid and Medicare just so happens to be caused by the doctor, the hospital, the pharmaceutical company, the clinic, the people in charge of actually billing Medicaid and Medicare for the service that they provide you, overcharging, upcharging, charging for things that you didn't even receive. That is where the fraud is. So maybe we shouldn't be cutting funding to Medicaid and Medicare, but maybe we should be opening up investigations into hospitals, doctors, clinics, pharmaceutical companies, pharmacies, because that's where the fraud lies. But how dare we think about opening up an investigation into, well, a hospital or a doctor or a clinic or a pharmaceutical company? you know, because capitalism and all. So, if you don't have Medicaid and Medicare and you voted for him because, well, you don't care, welcome to the new America, where even your private insurance is not going to help you if you need to go to the hospital, boo. You're going to be waiting in line behind 14 million Americans, if you even have a hospital left. I wish you your best.